Hello and welcome. Capel Green is a feature-length documentary film still in production. It focuses on the life of Larry Warren, original witness and whistleblower in the famous Rendlesham Forest incident. An insightful and human story about his fight for truth regarding what actually took place in the early hours of Sunday the 28th of December 1980, in a farmer's field, which sits on the edge of the forest. Described as Britain's Roswell, the mysterious lights and events witnessed by many US Air Force personnel spanned 3 evenings, and the Capel Green incident on the third night of activity was by far the most intriguing. A cold case from 37 years ago, the film follows his life bringing forward new evidence and previously unseen original documents. Larry has fought for the justice and truth behind this matter since that Sunday, battling the press, the military unit he served, as well as a few online detractors. The film talks to the many witnesses involved, takes the time to analyze the facts, documents the evidence behind what really occurred, and questions why these incidents did not follow the standard investigation procedures by authorities. Mr. Gary Heseltine, the head researcher and investigator for Capel Green, has kindly filmed an exclusive for Max UFO News.
My name's Gary Heseltine and I'm the founder and editor of UFO Truth magazine. I want to talk to you today about the forthcoming Capel Green, The Truth Behind the Rendlesham Forest Incident, independent documentary that's currently in production. I've written about it in the latest issue 29 of the magazine, but I wanted to give you something on camera about the flavour of what this is trying to achieve. Essentially, this is an independent production, which means there is no money bias, no negative TV bias against UFOs. We can literally say anything we want, and I think that that is important because I think essentially, despite the 50 or 60 documentaries made to this point, I don't think any of them have ever really told all of the information that has been known for a variety of reasons, not least the fact that TV makes entertainment and not necessarily gives you all of the truth, as I've found to my cost over the years. However, this independent production, which is going to be feature length, i.e. in excess of probably 90 to 100 minutes, is going to allow us the opportunity to present information in perhaps a way that has never been collectively done before. And I think this is what excites me. I am the principal lead researcher for the documentary and co-writer, so I will be heavily involved in what UFO content or the facts pertaining to the case for the documentary. Now, there's obviously a lot of negative media bias out there because it will obviously touch on Capel Green, which the Capel Green is essentially the Larry Warren story. In essence, the incident in the field, the mist, the explosion of light, the craft, small entities being seen, and a meeting with a senior military officer. Now that's at the heart of Larry's story, and that will be covered in depth, and it's a story that he, as the original military whistleblower, has put out there since 1982 onwards, and essentially has not changed despite what a lot of people have said. Now, from my point of view, when I've got involved in this project, I have sought to go back and really delve further into the case than I have done before. As many people will know, I had a 7-year collaboration period with Colonel Holt, so I was aware of, in a sense, his perspective on the case. But now I'm looking at it as an entire case, and so I've gone further and deeper, both in historical, in talking to witnesses, some of which have never been on camera. And what I can tell you is that this documentary will go further in presenting information than any documentary to date has ever done. Not only will it show a lot of information that's never been shown collectively in any one place, it will also produce new information. And that's what's exciting as well. We do have quite a lot of new information. In a sense, we will also cover some things that I think that have been deliberately not shown in documentaries for political bias reasons, the negative attitude towards that TV has generally towards UFOs, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be in there, and because it's independent, it's going to allow us the opportunity to do that. So what I would say to people is that with brilliant CGI, it's all in glorious 4K, with incredible aerial 4K footage as well. We're going to bring this to light in a way that it's never been shown. And my aim is to purely get as much information that I think is pertinent to the case out there, because we're probably not going to get this opportunity very often, and I think we really have to take as much time as possible, and if that means putting the production release date back to July, August, then so be it, because we have probably only got one chance to get this right and show people as much information as possible. And so therefore that's my role, and that's what my promise will be to the people who view this film. I really want this to be a film that's well remembered and be known because it gave more information than ever before. So for those of you who haven't seen the extended trailer, go to the capelgreen.com website and you'll see a 5-minute extended trailer. And for those of you who are thinking this is just the Larry Warren show, no, it isn't. Yes, it will be a central theme because the man has fought adversity for 36 years since really beginning to become aware of this in 1982 when he first started talking about it, and has met with resistance. Now, again, this is going to touch on to areas that I think are at the heart of why this case is never presented properly, and I think we can now tell that story in compelling ways. Believe me, without going into too much detail, Larry Warren is not alone, and there are many, many accounts that suggest that his account is actually true and was indeed real. So we'll cover that in the film. But the other thing that we'll also do is we'll tell the whole story of all the other incidents and bring many of them to light that have never been aired or put together in a way that we will do. So on that note, go to see capelgreen.com, the website, see the 5-minute extended trailer. And by the way, that does show that Larry Warren passes a polygraph test, plus he's passed voice stress analysis a couple of times, so all of this is looking good. But this is going to be much more than just telling Larry Warren's story, although it is extremely important that we do and we factually back that story up. But it's going to be much, much more, and it's an opportunity that we should not miss. And it's my promise to you, as the people out there that are interested in the subject, to say that I am only going to supply you with the truth as I know it. Thank you very much for listening.
Came to the edge of this field, Capel Green, and in the field, the first thing I saw was one of our airmen upset, and Robert Ball was talking to him. The guy was scared about something. So I came in through the trees right there. And then walked forward into this field. What I could see was a 50-foot diameter, approximately, glowing mist on the ground. And I saw a red light come in. It was the basketball size. It came down over the field in a downward arc, and then went to the top of this mist, and I was not far from it, and there was a flash of light that was blinding. Hurt my eyes, it was documented, and others. All of this is being filmed, and in the place was a triangular, delta-shaped machine, object, craft. And then off the right side of this came like a child's, You know, the big rings where the kid can make a bubble. It just off the fabric of this machine thing came this bluish gold bubble that was about a foot off the ground, and it split into three. And inside that, the upper extremities of what I only can say was a non-human entity. Well, I watched cameras go through the actions of filming, and I know still pictures were taken. We have actual motion picture film of the UFO, and it was given to the F-15 that flew from Germany onto Bentwaters Airfield, not Woodbridge, Bentwaters, and it was handed to the pilot, and the canopy closed, and the plane took off. And Mike Verano asked, where's the plane going? And they said, to Germany. What we also know at some point, and this has been lost in time, is that that footage was flown to Washington, D.C. after it was in Germany. A lot of our command people showed up and did witness all this. I'd pass a lie detector on it.
A polygraph test is very accurate.
Yeah.
So, and also the other thing about this, Larry, is it can't tell the difference between a big lie and a little lie. So even if you lie a little bit, you'll still get the same fail results. So that's why I always say to people, if there's anything you need to tell me that isn't truthful in this, tell me now, because otherwise you will fail, even on a little lie.
Fine.
Okay, ready to go do it?
Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at it fly.
From 2015 shows an encounter between U.S. Navy pilots and some kind of unidentified flying object. Wow, the clip was released by the private research and media group to the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. The group says the video is authentic Department of Defense footage showing the high-speed flight of an unidentified aircraft at low altitude off the East Coast. Comes on the heels of two other declassified videos of similar encounters published by the New York Times in December. The Department of Defense declined to comment on the latest video, as they have for quite some time now. Disturbing questions.
Unidentified flying objects. Those calls follow the release of this video. It shows some sort of UFO that was seen by the crew of a Navy jet 3 years ago.
And this is the third Pentagon video that appears to show an interaction with a mysterious aircraft. The Defense Department has acknowledged there used to be a secret program that looked into such sightings, but officials say that it was shut down in 2012. Why is my question? Why was this program shut down?
It's a CO-inspiracy.
Uh-huh.
We know they're among us.
Yeah.
And it was shut down in 2012. Wasn't that the year like the Mayans were supposed to, that the Mayans said it was all going to come? I know.
Creepy. I don't know.
is offering an inside look at a secretive government program investigating unidentified flying objects.
The Defense Department says it ended the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program in 2012 because of funding issues. But as CBS 4's Tony DeCoppel shows us, one UFO encounter while the program was running was caught on camera.
Look at this thing. It's rotating.
This is one of the incidents the Pentagon's secretive group of UFO hunters investigated.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh.
This object appeared off the California coast in 2004 and baffled two Navy pilots.
It's not a drone. It's not something that we can easily say, oh, that's an airplane.
Luis Elizondo ran the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program at the Defense Department. He believes the way that school bus-sized object moved defied the known laws of physics.
What we are looking at is truly beyond next-generation technologies.
Former Nevada Senator Harry Reid championed the UFO program, and some of the funding reportedly went to one of his donors, Robert Bigelow, founder of the military contractor Bigelow Aerospace. The Las Vegas tycoon spoke with 60 Minutes in May.
Do you imagine that in our space travels we will encounter other forms of intelligent life?
You don't have to go anywhere.
You can find it here.
Yeah.
Where exactly?
It's just like right under people's noses. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'm human. What are you?
Unlike in the movies, most UFOs don't turn out to be alien spacecraft. This green fireball above Buenos Aires in 2015 was likely a meteor, while this strange light over Los Angeles was actually a missile test.
I think this is a national security imperative. We have clear things that we do not understand how they work operating in areas that we can't control.
That was Tony DeCoppel reporting, and even though the program isn't active anymore, a Pentagon spokesperson said, quote, the DoD takes seriously all threats and takes action whenever credible information is developed.
Some story.
UFOs have captivated the public interest for decades, but they've always been dismissed, including by me, as the province of wackos. But that is changing thanks to some remarkable videotape and first-hand accounts from very sober people who are trained to identify aircraft. And that would include this video. It shows two Navy pilots encountering something bizarre off the east coast of the United States. Watch this.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, object on it. Oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that.
Okay, these are guys who fly for a living, who know what other airplanes look like, including those maintained by foreign governments, and they're totally shocked by this. This is one among many incidents like it, including many that have happened in the middle of the day to sober people, lots of independent witnesses at the same event, commercial pilots, military pilots, O'Hare Airport in the afternoon. None of them have obvious explanations. These are aircraft, apparently, that are moving in ways that appear to violate physics, that are flying very differently from any aircraft ever observed, and way faster than any plane that we know any foreign country has. What is this? Well, we don't know, because for some reason the Defense Department is not interested in finding out. Lou Elizondo is a former Pentagon official. He helped research UFOs. He said the DoD is not taking any of this seriously for some reason. Mr. Elizondo joins us tonight. Lou, good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So did I overstate that? Is there a growing corpus of evidence, not drunk people on a lonely rural road at 3 in the morning, but sober military pilots saying something that we can't explain is happening?
That is correct. You're talking about individuals who have very high security clearances. They are trained observers. We've actually paid them and put them through schools to be trained and very keen observers to scrutinize what they're seeing. These are individuals who we trust to fly weapons platforms, sometimes with live munitions, over U.S. cities and to fight and win wars on our behalf. And they're reporting to us that they're seeing something that they can't explain, and it's also being backed up by the video evidence and the radar data and other witnesses.
But these must just be weather balloons, right?
Well, the weather balloons that are expressing technologies that are far beyond our current understanding of aerodynamics, things that are maneuvering in ways that no aircraft that we are currently aware of has that capability to. Flight performance characteristics that are well beyond the threshold of what we would consider, I think, normal or routine for aircraft.
So they have no flight surfaces, no wings or anything approaching a wing, and there's also no obvious propulsion. So infrared doesn't pick up any jet trail or rocket exhaust coming out of these things.
Right, or a plume. You know, there's many ways to have propulsion. You can do it with a jet engine, for example, a propeller, or a rocket engine. In this particular case, you have objects that are doing things, maneuvering in ways without any obvious sign of propulsion, and defying the natural effects of Earth's gravitational.
At what speeds?
Pull. Some are very, very, very fast.
Faster than our aircraft or non-aircraft?
Absolutely, hypersonic speeds, and by the way, without any obvious signs or signatures involved. So when an object's moving through the atmosphere, you would expect it to have certain signatures associated with that particular aircraft, whether it's a missile, drone, rocket. So for example, you might see a heat signature coming from it, you might see ionization of the atmosphere, you might hear a sonic boom, which you normally would. It's an acoustic signature. In this particular case, these objects don't have any of those signatures.
So we know that they're not U.S. military because they wouldn't be flying near U.S. military aircraft as they so often have. And it seems like we would know if foreign countries had that technology. Look, I have no idea what it is. The bottom line is this is a potential threat, a grave one to our country. What is DOD doing about it?
Well, I can't speak on behalf of DOD right now because I'm no longer employed as a Department of Defense employee, but I can speak to what they were doing about it and what they weren't doing about it when I was part of the program. I think DOD is a very large, complex organization. I think it's very good at what it normally does, but in this particular case, we had a very ill-defined problem set. And so when you're going to the boss and you say, look, boss, we have something here, we don't know what it is, we sure don't know how it works, and by the way, there's nothing we can do about it. That is a very difficult conversation to have in an organization that is, its sole mission is national security,
right? I think it's terrifying. I mean, this seems potentially like one of the biggest stories of my lifetime, and I don't care if it's about UFOs or whatever you call it. Something that we don't understand is getting very close to our military aircraft, and the government isn't responding adequately, and I hope you keep sounding the alarm on this.
Yeah, I think, if I may, just very quickly.
We got 10 seconds.
Okay, you go to the metro, you see a sign, see something, say something, and we get an attaboy for reporting it. In this particular case, these pilots who are seeing something and it's backed up by other data, it's nothing.
It's terrifying. That's the essence of dysfunction. Lou, thank you for that. I hope you'll come back. Military pilots keep encountering aircraft that do things they can't explain, that seem to defy the basic laws of physics. This is happening a lot. It's happened for many years. The Pentagon knows, but they're not interested in investigating it. Why is that? We're going to talk to someone who was at the center of this story at the Pentagon next. Over and over and over again, U.S. military pilots have cited, sometimes at very close range, aircraft whose appearance and behavior they cannot explain, that science itself, the laws of physics, cannot explain. Now, it almost doesn't matter what this is. It doesn't have to be extraterrestrial to be a real concern to U.S. national security, and some are concerned. But as an organization, the Pentagon doesn't seem to be, and doesn't seem to be interested in investigating. Why not, is the question. Christopher Mellon is a National Security Affairs Advisor for the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. He's a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Mellon, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Tucker. Thank you.
So I want to make sure I'm not overstating that. Military pilots have seen at relatively close range objects, aircraft apparently doing things that aircraft we didn't think were able to do, and they've taken video of that. Is that true?
That's true, although that's only part of the evidence. What's so compelling about the evidence is we have our finest military personnel and our most sophisticated sensors all corroborating the information independently on multiple platforms. So some of these platforms are the same platforms we would use to defend the United States from a ballistic missile attack from, say, North Korea. If those systems are malfunctioning in some way, finding that out alone would be a huge benefit. I don't think that's the case. There's no evidence of that. Let me tell you a brief story that may add some color and make this a little bit more palpable. After my op-ed appeared with the video, I got a call from an individual retired from the Defense Department and who had worked on these issues, and I asked him, I said, do you have any context for that video? Do you have any details? He told me that was one of 2 videos that came into the Pentagon from the commander of a carrier battle group. And these are his words. He described it as a plea for help, end quote.
That's terrifying. So, I mean, these are aircraft unidentified that are operating in very close proximity to the U.S. military, to ships and planes. We can assume it's not American, or they wouldn't be that close. Can we assume that it's aircraft from a foreign country? I mean, do we have a working theory on this? What does the Pentagon think about this?
We don't have a working theory. And the most fundamental problem, and it's a self-inflicted problem, frankly a fairly easy problem to correct, and one of the reasons I wanted to write the article is because we have on the one hand something of immense, almost incalculable strategic importance, something that raises fundamental questions about the viability of our air defenses, about our aircraft. Many of these incidents have occurred in recent years within minutes of flying distance of the National Capital Region. So we have a very real and compelling body of evidence. On the other hand, we know that many of the problems can be easily solved if someone would just step forward. So what I'm talking about here is to provide an analogy that people may be able to relate to more readily than the complex DoD bureaucracy. The bombings recently in Austin, Texas, imagine if every time one of these bombs went off, you had a different police department responding, and none of these people were talking to each other, and nobody was in charge, right? Those bombings would probably still be going on. That's what's happening today. The different services, departments, agencies, the FBI,
of course,
people are gaining information, they're not sharing it, which is very reminiscent, unfortunately, of what happened before 9/11.
So give us, in the 50 seconds we have left, give us a sense of the scale here. You say these things are happening over the past 20 years. How many, roughly, would you say, credible sightings there have been by the U.S. military?
Yeah, it's hard to say over the last 20 years, and there's a difference. And one of the differences is that we're deploying much more capable sensors that provide a higher degree of fidelity. So whereas 15 years ago, we might get pilot reports saying, I saw a bright light out there. Now we're getting reports from an Aegis-class cruiser that says this thing came down from 80,000 feet, descended to 20,000 feet, dropped to 50 feet and hovered, then maneuvered towards the carrier, and then pilots are independently seeing it and confirming it and filming it. So it's a very different...
We're out of time. I hope this tape goes everywhere. Thank you for your bravery.
A lot of people think is a UFO. News 13's Allison Martinez showed the experts at Roswell's UFO Museum to see what they think.
Employees at the UFO Museum were stunned to see what was caught on camera. And here in the UFO capital of the world, everyone has an opinion.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that fly.
That was 2 Navy fighter pilots trying to make sense of what they just saw off of the East Coast back in 2015. The video, just released by the Pentagon, has left millions wondering the same thing.
It's got a trajectory, it's got a bearing, and it's too low to be something just space junk floating in space.
Seeing newspaper clippings and hearing the stories every day at work, we asked the people at the UFO Museum what they think the object could be.
I have a funny feeling that it's exactly what they think it is. I think it's an unidentified flying object.
Theories abound that someone or something is flying the object, and that can mean one thing and one thing only to a lot of UFO buffs.
UFO definitely has to be.
And many on the streets of Roswell believe the same thing.
I mean, it has to be an alien, obviously. There's no other solution. It has to be alien.
They don't look like airplanes or anything else, you know? And they sure don't look like no weather balloon.
I think it was a UFO because it was very small and it was going super fast that I'm pretty sure an airplane could not go that fast.
But of course, we did run into a few skeptics.
Could be something just really fast, really low. Can't really tell.
It is actually pretty similar to
but there's no telling what it could be. But there's a possibility it could be a UFO.
The UFO Museum says it'll try to track down more information on the mysterious sighting before putting it on exhibit at the museum. In Roswell, Allison Martinez, KRQE News 13.
Could be. The video was obtained by a group called To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. The Pentagon is not commenting on the footage captured by those FA-18 Super Hornets.
It's above us to pass us like 30 seconds ago.
Number 71 Papa Golf negative.
Okay. A UFO. Yeah.
At 1095, let me know if you see anything pass over you here in the next 15 miles.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't an airplane, but it passed us going the opposite direction. It's American 1095. Yeah, something just passed over us. Like don't know what it was, but it's at least 2,000-3,000 feet above us. Yeah, it passed right over the top of us. Was it a Google balloon? UFO.
My name's Heseltine and I'm the founder and editor of UFO Truth E-Zine, a magazine dedicated to people who believe that some UFO sightings do represent ET engaging with planet Earth. It's 96 pages and it's sent to you every 2 months direct to your email address. You don't have to do a thing. If you're really interested in the subject of UFOs, then subscribe to UFO Truth magazine now. It features articles by many of the world's leading researchers, either as guest contributors or regular columnists.
I am pleased to announce an exclusive offer from UFO Truth magazine to all Max UFO News viewers. The Max UFO News special offer offers a year's subscription to UFO Truth magazine for just £11.99. You can find the link to obtain your special offer in the YouTube description box below. Be sure to check it out after the show.
Encounter. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was in 2009, and I was in our garden with my husband and a girlfriend of mine called Edwina, and we saw some helicopters and a bright light come towards us from the southwest. And so we looked, of course, expecting to see maybe they were after someone, maybe that person was coming running up the garden. That didn't happen. The helicopters left.
So they were really close to you, mean? Like coming kind of over your
above
garden?
the house.
And they looked like helicopters?
No, they were helicopters.
They were.
Yeah. But I think that they were scrambled to try and find out what this thing was. Okay. Anyway, the helicopters went off. The light remained behind cloud in the sky. We went to investigate. Then the cloud, someone took that photograph in Welland Garden City, and it got published in the Welland and Hatfield Times a few days after I saw it. And everyone thought I'd been on the Pinot Grigio and, la, 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 la. Actually, I hadn't. Where I had been was very dull, actually. I've been in A&E all night, but that's another story. Oh. And, yeah, really, with Harry. Anyway, it's a long story, it's a long story. And I'm looking up and I'm seeing this thing, and then all of a sudden it moves from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And so we're going, oh, OK. Then it went back to 11 o'clock. And then it went back to 2 o'clock, and then a smaller one joined it.
When you're saying it was moving from 11 o'clock to 2, was it going very quickly?
Like in a second, so from over there, it went over there.
And Hal was with you, yeah, seeing this at the same time? Did he believe it the way you did?
Hal
was with
yeah,
you,
Hal was there, and he went running in to try and find something to film it. And meanwhile, we're thinking, well, is this going to last for 10 seconds? Is it going to last? It could finish any second, so I felt compelled to just watch what was going on. It has really inspired me a lot. I really believe what I saw was a UFO. It was, well, certainly it was a UFO, but I certainly think it wasn't of this planet.
But when you tell people, do you think, sorry, Jane, do you think you're a bit crazy? Not many people say I have
on
seen
your
a UFO.
audience, yeah. The looks on your audience tell you everything you need to know.
Do you think one day they will come and sort of...
I believe they're here. I believe that they are here already, and they have been here for a long time. And, I think they've been keeping an eye on us for a long time. I think they're in despair right now with the way we treat each other and the planet. And yeah, so I think they're they're kind of like having conferences. They're sitting around thinking, well, what are we going to do with this lot? What are we going to do with them? We're going to let them carry on making such a mess.
It inspired you to get back into the recording studio. Here come the aliens. It's out next Friday on the 16th, and then the tour starts the end of March.
Well, my friends, that's it for another month. I would like to say a big thank you to Mr. Gary Heseltine for appearing on the show. Thank you, sir, it's very much appreciated. Links for everything covered this month can be found as usual in the YouTube description box below. If you have enjoyed this month's episode, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe should you so wish, and click the little bell to remain notified about future updates. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe out there.